This is the Mariners POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Seattle Mariners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, we're going to keep doing this, huh? We're going to keep doing this. Anderson Hirst here, Christopher Crawford, live on your Mariners POSTCAST. If you want to hear like yelling and screaming and frustration, that was for last night's episode.
Sure.
Today, we're just going to kind of take you through what's been a really tough stretch of Mariners baseball. We can, cookie cut the sample size in however many ways you want. They're just not playing well right now.
No.
The pitching's not good. The lineup is very inconsistent. It's not like they're not scoring runs, but they're not coming at the right time. The bullpen looks It's just you're not playing with a lead. It's just all the things that we were hoping to see this year and saw for the first about month and a half of the season. Is just you're not seeing it right now. We're going to talk about this downward spiral. We're going to give you some stats about this team. And how they've been playing recently. I'm going to ask you about the pitching, Chris Crawford, because I think that's we've talked about the offense a lot recently, but the pitching staff being right now, especially on this road trip, suboptimal, to say the least, is a bigger issue for me. But I understand there's some injuries there and all that stuff. But what are your first thoughts about this one before we get into it?
Oh, this one. And, I thought because of the way the last two games went, being, you lose a walk-off grand slam and then you get absolutely shellacked, that maybe this one wouldn't hurt as much, but it hurts.
Yeah, it hurts.
It really hurts. And especially it hurts because of who did it to you today. If you don't think that plays a factor into who beat you today, almost single-handedly beat you today, then you're a crazy person, because I just can remember throwing such a fit about that trade, and I still throw a fit about that trade because it's, we talk about process and result, right?
Yeah.
The Mariners lost that trade in process, and oh boy, did they lose it in result too. And seeing that guy do that damage to just kind of punctuate this week of baseball, and it's not just this week, like you mentioned, they have been playing abhorrent baseball for well over 2 weeks now, very close to 3. It's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to watch this team spiral the way that they have over this last basically month.
Yeah, and it looked like it was different for so long. For the first month and a half of the season, it looked like the offense had turned a corner. It looked like the Edgar and Kevin Seitzer effect was taking shape. You believed in the pitching staff, especially how they were going with Gilbert, Miller, and Kirby all on the shelf at some point. And it just hasn't come to fruition. The results have not come. The offense has gone back to the last couple of years. And like you said, I want to talk about that trade for a little bit because it's gonna be the big. Eugenio Suarez beat you today. If that specific result isn't an indictment on this front office, I don't know what is. At this point. I want to ask or talk a little bit about the trade because I've had this thought for a while now. I've just kind of been waiting for the time to bring it up. If you look at what happened, yes, you traded Eugenio Suarez for like Sebi Zavala and Carlos Vargas, right?
Carlos Vargas, correct.
Obviously, like the main thing you got back was financial flexibility, whatever that means at that point. But you went and spent that money that you didn't spend on Eugenio Suarez on Jorge Polanco, because you basically did the same thing to Minnesota, giving up a prospect to them to get Jorge Polanco. So in my head, it's more you traded Eugenio Suarez for Jorge Polanco. And you still lost that, by the way, too.
Right.
Eugenio Suarez is a much better player. And it sucks that you have to do that. But even with the financial restrictions that are on this front office, he still can't do it. He still can't do it.
No. And, that I talked about this on Blue Sky, that trade was absolutely ownership mandated. That they did not want to pay Eugenio Suarez. And, they cut salary because Polanco made less than Suarez did that year. And
wasn't it just pretty much the same though? Wasn't it like
it was
10.5 million?
it was pretty close. It was pretty darn close, but they did end up getting a little bit of financial flexibility in that deal. And let's be completely honest, shouldn't have to happen. Absolutely should not have had to happen to get a player like Polanco. You shouldn't have to move a contract like Suarez's. But my biggest issue with that trade is that they should have been able to get more for Suarez. The fact that they've got a third string catcher and a reliever who was at the time talented but incredibly volatile, and I think remains the same, even though the results have been better than 2025 for sure than 2024. But oh my goodness gracious, is that one of the worst trades in Mariner history that we don't talk nearly enough about? Maybe it's just because it's such a short time span, and maybe it's also because Suarez wasn't as good in 2024 as he was in 2023. I think that's fair to say. But at the same time, that was a disaster of a move, and he kicked your butt today. He absolutely kicked your butt. It took a while for him to kick your butt, but kicked your butt, he absolutely did. And if there's any solace I take in this crap factory, it's kind of nice to have a reminder that this organization has flaws. And it's also kind of a nice reminder that Eugenio Suarez is an incredibly likable dude. Incredibly likable. And seeing him succeed, I take just a smidgen of solace in. I don't blame anybody for says, heck to you, Christopher Crawford. I don't care. I would just want the Mariners to win. That's fine. Yeah. But I like Eugenio Suarez, and I'm really happy for Eugenio Suarez.
I am too. I'm lucky enough to be around the clubhouse more the last couple years in 23 and 24 than currently, because I have to do this. Sure. But he was by far my absolute favorite guy in the clubhouse to talk to. He was the guy that kind of kept everyone loose. It worked really well with Scott Service, who is kind of, I don't want to say a hard ass, but like he would be a little more business oriented, get to the point. And Eugenio Suarez was the kind of the perfect mix with that, with kind of cracking jokes everywhere. And he's a good baseball player, man. He's consistent as heck. Played. I still think he plays a good third base. You could definitely see him tailing off a little bit this year. The arm strength isn't as good as it was when he was here, but he was a great defensive third baseman when he was here. He's going to strike out. That's what's going to happen. But he's going to hit 30 bombs. And this team relies on the home run ball. I don't care if you've tried to change to ball and play, whatever. This team still relies on the home run ball. And you need people. You need people that hit home runs.
And, for those who are saying, well, hey, this is more Ty and Colby area, you know what I have to say to that? Number one, you're probably right. But number two, it's a prime example of why you lost today's game, because you only get those 2 runs today, in part because you don't have the bop. You don't have the bop. And if you don't think a guy like Eugenio Suarez was missing today, I think you're being short-sighted.
Yesterday, too, they had 11 hits and scored 2 runs.
11 hits, scores 2 runs. Now, I want to talk about Bryan Woo's start because for 5 innings, it looked fine. I will say there was he got away with one here. He got a little bit of away with one here, but hey, 5 innings. That 6th inning was just a disaster. And I'm sorry, one bad inning can absolutely ruin a start. I don't think I would have pulled him in the 6th. I would have hoped for the best, that you can get out of this thing with only giving up a run or 2. That would be I don't think that was a terrible decision. I do think it was a terrible decision to not have a lefty left to pitch to Pavin Smith. I do think that was a mistake. Like, once he gave up that grand slam, it should have been curtains for him. Yeah. It should have been his last inning or last batter for sure. But Bryan Woo was just okay today, but you expect more. I'm sorry. I expect more than 6 innings of 4-run baseball from a guy who's pitching at the top of your rotation. And Bryan Woo pitched fine for 5 innings and got away with some stuff. And then it all came to a reckoning in the 6th. This isn't good enough. I'm sorry. 6 innings of 4-run baseball is not good enough. The offense is the main reason that you lose today. but Bryan Woo hurt more than helped in this start. I'm sorry. You have a 5-run inning. You hurt more than help your staff.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you can point to all aspects of the game to why you lost this game. To me, the bigger issue is the pitching, because I mean, this team's based off of run prevention. You're not going to score 4, 5, 6 runs a game. Every game. You're just not.
No.
You got to trust your starters. Go out,
Yeah.
give you at least 6, and no more than 2 or 3 runs. And no one's doing that right now, unfortunately, except hopefully George Kirby can. But even that was his first kind of really good start over the weekend in Anaheim. So I
mean, Castillo's been pretty. I'm sorry to interrupt. Castillo's been pretty solid. We do have the memory of the last start.
Right.
Emerson Hancock has had a lot of 1 and 2 run starts as well. Yeah. And I will point to the fact that the Mariners have scored 11 runs over their last 5 games. Like, that's just flat out not even close to good enough.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the pitching's been great over this stretch. That doesn't mean that the pitching has been without they deserve some of the crap that we're giving this team as well. Like, can't give up 5-run innings. Can't happen.
No.
You get a 2-run cushion. I wish the run support was more. Of course I do. But you got to pitch better. You got to avoid a grand slam, man. That's just got to happen. And the risk with Bryan Woo is because he catches so much of the plate. There are going to be instances where this type of thing happens. The key is to make him solo bombs, to make them not have all 4 runs score on 1 swing of the bat. And then I know he gives up the homer to Smith as well, but it just wasn't good enough all around. And it's just, this has been the case now for all 3 weeks. Like, all of the aspects of this team, defensively, offensively, starting pitching, bullpen, all not good enough.
Yeah, it's not good enough right now. The Seattle Mariners have lost 8 of their last 9. They've lost 11 of their last 14, and they've lost 14 of their last 19. The teams that in that 19-game stretch, you've played Houston, okay, good team, Nationals, Twins, Orioles, Angels, and Diamondbacks. It's not like you're going through the gauntlet of your schedule right now.
No. You're
getting beat by mediocre to bad teams at this point. And
for sure.
Maybe that's who the Mariners are, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I have major questions over Dan Wilson's ability to, turn things around vibes wise. I obviously have major questions about the roster, but that's a given. I think most people can see that this roster is not very good. I just think we may have been a little spoiled in how well, we were getting as much out of this roster as we possibly could for the past couple of years.
Sure.
I want to talk to you about, a little bit more of the bigger picture here when it comes to the trading deadline after we talk about some Monarch money.
Okay.
If you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances.
Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop managing your money and start building wealth. Like, the key thing for apps like this is that, and this best part about Monarch Money is it does both, is it gives you an idea of oh my gosh, I'm spending that much on this. Like, I am really getting Uber Eats as often as I am. There's no Uber Eats in Shelton. It absolutely breaks my heart. But, using that type of stuff, the fact that you kind of get a breakdown of what you're spending your money on and you're saving money while doing it makes Monarch Money something that you have to add.
Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online.
Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts From 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast.
If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service. You'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn.
Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.
All right. Let's get a little more into it. We have a couple minutes to go here. You know, if you're just tuning in, Mariners lose this one to get swept once again to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have now lost 8 of their last 9, 11 of their last 14, and 14 of their last 19 games against some not very good baseball teams. And I'll just kind of go through what that 19-game stretch has. You lost 3 of 4 to Houston. You lost 2 of 3 to the Nationals. You win 1 series against the Twins, although a couple of pretty lucky endings there. You get swept by the Orioles. You lose 2 of 3 to the Angels, and you probably could have gotten swept if it weren't for George Kirby. And you got swept against the Diamondbacks. They're just terrible. They're playing terrible right now.
These are not the top names in the American League and a couple in the National League as well, folks. These are like the teams that you should be beating up on. Like anything short of 11-8 in that stretch is disappointing. You went way short of 11-8 during that stretch. And, you know,
you went 5-14.
Yeah, that's just awful. And there were, you know, to be Mr. Positive, as I'm well known, I'm known as the biggest Seattle Mariner optimist in the world. There were a couple of decent things today. Like, it was great to see Julio get a couple of doubles. It was nice to see some extra base, driving a ball into the gap, and pulling a ball into the gap was really nice to see. 3 for 4 today. That we'll take that. Donovan Solano continues to start showing a little bit of life.
First home run as a Mariner in front of his brother.
First homer as a Mariner, and that had to have felt so good. Like, Donovan Solano knows he hasn't been anywhere close to good enough, but like, I bet you that felt super good. I think the can zone and the Solano homers are the feel-good moments from an absolute crap factory of a week in Arizona. At least it feels like a week. I know it was only 3 days. Which Garver hit a double. That was kind of interesting to see. The bottom of the lineup was just terrible. And we have to talk about, just to get into an unsung villain real quick.
Do it. Let's
go. Dylan Moore looks awful.
He's always my unsung villain, man.
Dylan Moore
terrible.
Just looks awful right now.
Terrible baseball player.
While I don't go that far, I will tell you this is why Dylan Moore is not an everyday player. No. This is why Dylan Moore has to be the 25th or 26th player on your roster. That guy who can fill in a bunch of spots. Not great, but he can fill in there. And the fact that he's usually pretty good against left-handed pitching, boy, he's getting it skunked today. I mean, or skunked right now. And no matter who's pitching to him, over 2 with 2 strikeouts. I can't remember the last nice moment for him, but the entire bottom of the lineup, Miles Mastrobuoni in a huge situation hits into a grounds into a double play that ends any sort of threat.
First pitch to a guy that couldn't throw strikes.
Yeah, that was really frustrating to see. But like the bottom of the order, but in particular, Dylan Moore is my unsung villain because he is really hurting the Seattle Mariners right now.
Couldn't agree more. I'm going to go unsung hero. I'm going to go with Donovan Solano. Mainly I want to talk about him for a sec.
Sure.
The results have not been good enough. Totally agree. No. And you can't just have a guy on a roster because he's a veteran that people like. You can't.
No, absolutely
not. If he's not getting it done on the field, that's a waste of a roster spot. But a lot of people were upset with the Mariners when they got rid of Carlos Santana. And then it kind of got replaced with the Justin Turner, but he was only here for half of a year. They've been trying to fill that role for a long time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Donovan Solano is anywhere near Carlos Santana in terms of results on the field, but they play a similar role in the clubhouse.
Yeah,
I said earlier that I was lucky enough to be around this group, be in the clubhouse every now and then, kind of see how people interact with each other. Solano is that guy. Like he's always chatting with everyone, kind of giving people pointers. This dude's had a almost 15-year career now. And that says a lot. And he's that veteran presence, and the results are not there. Let me just emphasize that as emphatically as I possibly can. But the players gravitate towards him. You saw how excited his teammates were when he hit that home run, and look, the smile on his face. Like, good for him to get that. But I just want to point out that these players are humans. They're not numbers. They're not robots. They're humans. So having those types of relationships is so key in a clubhouse. And that's why I think you see like some of the ups and downs with a lot of these players that maybe front offices, including the one here in Seattle, kind of doesn't value that part of the game. So I just want to say that that's something that I've noticed a lot recently. I've been waiting to kind of have a moment to point that out. But it's so important to have in a clubhouse.
There's no doubt about it. Like, this is the clubhouse in baseball, to me, is the most important of the sanctuaries in any sport, right? Like, because of the fact that you're with these guys so much, it is the most important to have the cohesive unit. You know, it's important in every sport. You don't want guys fighting with each other. You want people to have camaraderie in anything, in any line of work. You want people to like each other. It's also worth pointing out that Justin Turner's been awful this year. Has been a real struggle. I think Polanco's stats are pretty darn close to what Solano's stats are pretty darn close to what he's done. So it could be worse. Carlos Santana was someone they really tried hard to get. And Carlos Santana is, all due respect to Solano, a kind of a different type of leader. Like, that's one of the most respected players in all of baseball. So is Justin Turner. Like, he is a guy that people really have gravitated towards. But, you know, good for Solano for having some success, because we don't want to see, we can't stand watching incompetence, right? And for so much of this year, Donovan Solano has been an incompetent baseball player. So it is nice to see some signs of life there. It is nice to see. Would I roster him over Harry Ford at this point? Absolutely not. You can offer Donovan Solano a spot on the coaching staff if he's that important to your clubhouse. But it is nice to see some semblance of life from him, even if I still am very skeptical on whether or not he belongs on a playoff roster. You could also start to argue whether or not this is a playoff roster.
Well, it's not right now. I'm just
right now. It's certainly not.
It's not. And let's get into that, because you know, we try and keep it daily and break down the game that you guys just saw. And you'll probably get a lot more deeper dive into this with Ty and Colby on the Locked On Mariners podcast. Be sure to check that out. They have some awesome stuff coming this week.
For sure.
But we went into this series kind of thinking, okay, can we look at a lot of the players on the Diamondbacks? They mentioned it on the Mariners broadcast today. A lot of these guys are impending free agents. They can easily, if they start to fall out of it, they're in probably the toughest division in baseball. They're about a 500 team, which the Mariners are below at this point. They lost their ace in Corbin Burns that they just paid $230 million for the rest of the year, and probably most of next year as well, because he's going getting Tommy John. So they're in a situation where they probably are looking to sell off some pieces to kind of reload for the next couple of years. And the Mariners were like, oh, great, let's go get Josh Naylor. Let's see if Eugenio Suarez is available, kind of revamp our lineup for the stretch run. Are we looking the opposite now? Are we starting to think, are the Mariners in that situation now as well, because of how poorly they've played? Now they're 4 games out now of the Houston.
3.5 right now.
3.5. Okay. So it's not like they're completely out of it. No. But this team is not playing good enough baseball to make the playoffs. It's just not. So are we starting to get to the point where we are starting to think of players that might not be Mariners anymore for very long?
You know, the only reason that I'm not there is in part because I don't really know what you're selling. You know, what are the players that you would be moving? Like
Randy Arozarena, Luis Castillo.
But let's also keep up.
Moore.
The only player you just mentioned there that's not under contract for 2026 is Dylan Moore. That's the only one of those players. So you don't have to move Randy Arozarena. If you're out of it and somebody offers you a great deal, you have to more than consider it. You probably have to do it.
Yeah.
Same thing for if you can trade Luis Castillo and get a solid starting pitcher back.
And by the way, don't get me wrong. This is not what I want to happen.
No, 100%.
All. I want to keep both those players, and I like for sure. But I'm saying, like, if you're Jerry Dipoto at this point, is that what you're thinking about, or maybe you start? I think
if I'm Jerry Dipoto, and I'm not very clearly, for better and for worse, mostly for worse. If I'm being
mostly
honest.
for better, are you kidding me? I don't want to be that guy.
That guy's pretty handsome. I think he's a pretty handsome guy.
Who cares? You're a way better person.
Oh, well, thank you, my friend. Well, this just got kind of awkward. No, it didn't. I would say that if you're Jerry Dipoto right now, what you should be doing is looking to upgrade this roster immediately. Like seeing what's going on and saying, holy crap.
You're saying this sense of urgency. Don't just wait until the deadline.
Sense of urgency. Yeah. Can't just wait till the deadline. I'm not saying that you have to make the move tomorrow, by the way, because the problem with making a move tomorrow is you can't. These guys wait until the very last minute to make these deals 95% of the time because they want to weigh everything possible, right? And you hope for, if you are the Pittsburgh Pirates, you're hoping that there are injuries to other teams and you hope that guys that are playing on your team play well enough that their value goes up and then you don't have to move them until the last moment. But you're going to have to go lose a trade. You're going to have to go say, you know what? We're paying too much, but I can't waste this roster again. I cannot waste what I have in place. And I still personally believe there are enough good core pieces on this roster and this division sucks eggs enough that you should be still playing for 2025. You cannot give up on 2025. I would be devastating if they did. But, and they're not. They're absolutely not. 4 games is just so little. We saw the Mariners blow a 10-game lead last year. So then we know that there's a lot of baseball left to be played. Sorry for bringing that up. You got to be aggressive. You've got to be really aggressive, and you need to start making moves before the end of June because you see where you have the holes in the roster and you see where you are not good enough to compete, even in this flawed American League, even in this ever so flawed division where the Angels are, I believe, a half game back of the Seattle Mariners, by the way, which is just pathetic. Even with all of that stuff, you can't look at this roster and say, we're good. You can't look at this roster and say, we can't get better. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. There is a golden opportunity made by the averageness of this group that you can upgrade in so many places. You got to go do it. You got to go do it. You don't have to trade Colt Emerson. You don't have to trade Harry Ford. You don't have to trade Felton Celestin or Lazaro Montes. You don't have to trade any of those guys, right? This is one of the reasons you build the best farm system in baseball is so that you can use the depth behind those guys. And there are guys people will be interested in. You can use those guys to help make this roster better and compete for an American League West title.
Yeah, I just don't want 2023 again, where you're like, oh, we're kind of still in it, but we're going to sell off one of our best relievers and then kind of half in, half out sort of thing, which a lot of GMs are starting to do a lot more now because they just don't want to make the full-on decision to either sell or go all in.
Right.
Which, like, just there's different situations around the league. Absolutely. I think there needs, like, I totally agree with you. And I think kind of looking at our roster, there's not much to sell. And like you still believe in this pitching staff. You have an MVP candidate in Cal Raleigh. Julio has been batting .450 in this road trip. He's starting to heat up a little bit. You have pieces. Randy's looked good lately. JP looks decent at short.
On base.
But the rest of the roster is so bad and it's such a deep drop off. You can easily get something to supplement this guy and lengthen the lineup. Hey, you could even go for a starter at this point, which you might need to.
And you have to go get a reliever. You have to go get a reliever. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's the thing I almost would be the most aggressive on, not just because it helps you, it helps the other relievers. Like you have to be able to not say, if I can't pitch Matt Brash and I can't pitch Andres Munoz, I don't know what's going to happen today.
Yeah.
Right? Those guys are going to end up getting overworked. So you have to go get something that stabilizes the middle relief core. Have to. It's just not good enough, man. I know I've said it's not good enough in like 15 straight videos, but do something to make it so that I say something else then.
I think we've said it in 14 of the last 19 straight videos.
Yeah.
With Crawford.
100%.
Because
100%.
that is where we're at right now.
I just hope that they're watching, and I don't really doubt that they're doing this right now, but I hope that they're taking a look at this and saying, boy, we owe this fan base and we owe this current roster the ability to upgrade. We owe them to upgrade to this team. And wow, that stat right there. JP, Cal, and Julio, a 684 OPS last year on the state, this year 841, and they have a worse record. Wow. That
to me, that says the pitching staff is the bigger issue.
Well, I took it two ways because I don't disagree with you there. What that tells me is, boy, a roster that only added Donovan Solano and brought back Jorge Blanco.
Both ways. Yeah.
It's not either way. Sucks out loud.
Yeah, it does. Sorry, we went long again.
That's okay.
Find a way to hone it in a little bit, but really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Check out Ty and Colby for Locked On Mariners. Like I said, they'll take a deeper dive into all this stuff and answer your guys' questions. I think they do a better job than us on that anyways. Sometimes, but I think most of the time, like we're pretty good breaking down the game you guys just watched. But I mean, we can't just keep doing this, right?
No.
Day off tomorrow, so you won't see us tomorrow. And then it's what, a 3-game set against the Guardians at home.
Yep.
So all right, let's get right.
Real quick before you guys leave, please hit like on the video and please donate to Ty and Colby's. I just forgot the name of it. Yeah, please do it. Please.
All right, guys. Really appreciate you all so much. We'll see you guys not tomorrow. Once again, they have tomorrow, Thursday off. We'll see you on Friday. Mariners are back home against the Cleveland Guardians. Figure it out.